Welcome to the Don't Count Me Out podcast. This program is dedicated to stroke survivors, loved ones, and caregivers, medical professionals, and anyone interested in learning more about this devastating disease and the warriors that face it every day. Our mission is to share stroke survivors' stories of inspiration and hope, form friendships and community, gain knowledge and insight, and the courage to dream and explore new avenues as we find our way back to living. So, my friends, the Don't Count Me Out podcast begins right now. We're going to tell a lot about her story. Her name is Lynne Becker. Lynne, thank you for being here with us.
Oh, absolutely. I always make time for you.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about what got you into the stroke community.
Yes, absolutely. And so again, you guys were just so welcoming to me. My story is long, so I'm not going to go into that long, like, holy cow, I can't believe it happened story again. But my youngest daughter, Natalie, was injured when a boy threw a soccer ball at her head and hit her in the left temple. And it was point blank range. It was not a game. It was intentional. And so she had a severe traumatic brain injury, but she was knocked unconscious and became a different person, and everything in her body really broke. And 4 days after the event, she stroked as well. So that was my introduction into the world of brain injuries.
How long ago was that?
Natalie was injured on August 22nd, 2015. And it's a day I really will never forget, because I was moving my oldest daughter into her college dorm as a freshman at Emory, and Natalie was away at boarding school. But it was her 17th birthday, and I was going to spend the evening with her to celebrate her birthday, because she was going to school very close to where her sister was going to school. So yeah, that's a date that has now taken on a completely different storyline for us all.
How is she doing now?
Oh my goodness. So, when you have these brain injuries, there's never a complete recovery. Right. And that was something that as a caregiver, I had to even learn about and understand. However, she has made incredible progress, 4.5 years of a rehab journey. So she is now living on her own. She now is able to drive again. She not only graduated from college, she became very math oriented, almost kind of in the spectrum side of things, just really hyper focused in numbers, which was really, it was ironic, because her original goal before her injury was to go into broadcasting. She wanted to be the next Erin Andrews, because she can just memorize plays. Like, she also was an athlete. That was her passion. But after her injury, she couldn't even do math. Like, she couldn't do basic math. But what's crazy is that after all of the rehab, and again, we had to do a whole bunch of different recovery programs for her, she became an accountant. And she didn't just become an accountant, she actually just graduated from a master's degree program and is going to be a CPA, and has a position with KPMG. And so there is, don't count me out, there is hope, and it's finding the right therapy. So she's doing phenomenal now, and she still has her issues, right? She still has to do certain modifications. And to your point about living in the South, she is still in Charleston, South Carolina. And the temperatures and the humidity and the barometric pressure, when that happens, it causes problems with her heart as well, and stomach swelling. So that's where she's different. And she has to just kind of pace herself with things, but she really is doing phenomenal. Thank you for asking.
Well, she seems like such a lovely young woman, and oh my gosh, I'm amazed at what she's accomplished. And hats off to the people that do physical therapy and all the other therapies that help us to come around. And hats off to all of the stroke survivors who don't give up, who continue to try. And sometimes we have to find the creative ways that are going to make us better in the long run. It's not always easy, and it's not straightforward, and none of us I think, are textbook examples of healing. We've had to do it on our own.
I love what you just said, because I'm in the middle of writing a grant application and we now have a lot of data and it's really exciting.
Oh,
and I can't wait to share it with you because but wait, I can't let it out now. I will, but I want to kind of give a preface. So when you first interviewed me, and you and Brad, I remember I maybe had 100 people, I think, and that was, 6 months ago, but we hit all of our milestones and things like that. And so we're starting to grow, but we have 550 people on our dashboard, but I just got another 500 people sent to me. So we're over 1,000, and we have 80% engagement because it's so simple, right? The dashboard is so easy to use. And now we're starting to put in new charts for people, because the statement you said was, you're always on your own. You're always having to figure it out because there's no rhyme or reason. Well, guess what? I am going to challenge that thought. Yes, because our data is showing, because of everybody using it, is showing patterns. So so my caption for this grant that I'm writing and doing a pitch event is no two brain injuries are alike, or are they? And our data is showing people that are injured the same way are tracking and having the same trends in their data. Nobody knows anybody. And so it's really interesting. I just did a presentation for Massachusetts Department of Disability Services, and it was a talk. I had a talk and lecture about ABI and suicide. And there's no research papers that are current in that area at all. And I did an interview with two twins, identical twins, and their mom, who are stroke survivors. And they have a genetic condition that's very rare that causes multiple strokes in their brains throughout their life and down their spinal column. And it's an incredible interview. But it was also more powerful because these twins were very suicidal. They were very forthcoming and very honest, and how they were kind of put into homes, and just the whole process, it broke my heart. It'll bring tears to your eyes. And so it was so enlightening to see what our data was showing and how it was actually backing up what they were saying, that their signs and their symptoms were there, but nobody was listening. It's amazing. So patterns are emerging, and now I'm going to start challenging the healthcare community and researchers to take a look.
Good. And I know a lot of them will, they are so far into our corner. And there's been such great strides made over the years that, they want to do everything they can to help us. And before we go further, I do want to say one thing. We will put a phone number for the suicide hotline on this podcast. There is no reason for anyone to ever think that you're alone. It's a terrible, terrible feeling. I've not experienced it personally, but I've worked with a number of families who've lost their children because of that.
I can't agree with you more. You said it beautifully.
So now, when you started out, you only had 100 people, and now you're up to 1,000. That's amazing, and I'm so proud of you for doing that. But I know that for some people, I don't know this to be true, but in my mind, I'm thinking when we fill things out, we're very cautious about what we fill out, and we're not sure where it's going and how well it's been protected, because some of this is sensitive information, at least to us it is, has to do with our health. So what have you done to help people to understand that the information they share with you is going to be taken care of properly? Yes,
that's a wonderful question. And I am extremely serious about privacy. And I take it very, very seriously. And I myself am also wanting to know, where is the data going? So Every single thing that is done on the dashboard is governed by each person. They make all the decisions. We're just providing the platform. So in order to keep it free, so this is a free app, and I vowed it will forever be free with patients, for patients, as well as their caregivers. And one of the things that I have to do is obviously make money because I'm supporting this on my own. But one of the things that I have to do to generate income and revenue to support the platform is to use the data, not sell it, use the data so researchers can look at de-identified or anonymized data. So there's no identifiers whatsoever when they want to look at different kinds of patients. So let's pretend they want to look at patients with TBI that were hit on the left side of their head and the top of their head, and they want females. So whatever kind of person they want to describe and symptoms that they might be experiencing, they can click all these little things and they can then look at this profile of this kind of person. And so that is something that I take near and dear to heart. So if a person does not want to have that data shared, the de-identified data, then they can't create an account. But that's the only way that I will be able to monetize this to support the platform. So people then have this data. If you come onto the platform and they have the only access, we have multiple layers of validation. And even if there's a caregiver who might be tracking for a patient, a caregiver can never see a patient data. So a patient chooses who sees my data, and the patient is the one who drives the decision making. If the patient or the user wants to have this sent to their doctor, the patient sends it, not us. So that's the relationship that, I don't only say, but I stand behind, because that's the trust that people put in me. So if somebody wants to work with their doctor or their clinician, and I do encourage it, particularly if you have somebody that really is helping you, you want this to be a synergistic team effort, right? You want to set the goals together. You want to track together. You want to show them the data so they get it. They understand your pain points. So that's what we do encourage. And that's a different platform. That's a different application, but patients are totally in control. And here's an example of how serious I am about making sure people are comfortable. A patient emailed us and she said, I love this. And she journals throughout the day, all the time, because she is really trying to identify the triggers so she can then prevent the triggers that manifest her condition, right? So she said, I have a lot of personal information I'm putting in here. I don't want my doctor to see all of it. Can I select on my report if the journaling does not go in? And I thought, that is a great idea. Why didn't I think of that, right? So I put it onto the top list for the developers, and in a couple of days, we released the feature. So when you print your report, if you only want the doctor to see the numbers and not your comments, not your journal, you click the button and say, don't export my journal. And that's it. Yeah. So it really, how much can I accommodate people so they are comfortable? And I do take it to heart. Joanne, we've got 550 active users. We just got another 500 list to bring on board as well. And we have an 80% engagement rate, and we don't bug people. It's just that simple. Again, how to use the dashboard. It takes 30 seconds every day. You don't even have to do it every day. You can do it every couple of days, right? You can pause, you can come back. It's all customizable. We have people, probably about 15 people, that track over 400 times in a month. A month. Like, there's only 30 days in a month, but that's how much they are vested in getting themselves better. So, I mean, that is just so, it warms my heart because it's working for them. And so we're very committed that way to patients.
How long does that take?
When you first go in, it only takes about 2 to 5 minutes. It's very fast. It depends upon how much detail you want to put in on the boxes.
And then every day, like you were saying, people can go in there and add more information to them.
That's actually one of the things that I want to build out. We're going to start working with stroke survivors. So what I need this group to work with us and build a specific track to their stroke. So if you remember in the beginning, I said Natalie had a TBI and then stroke 4 days after. So her primary injury was always being addressed as a TBI. And I, followed the doctor's orders, but we made probably the most significant progress in the stroke clinic. And then, we went on and did a lot more other therapies across the board, but that was the one that seemed to springboard her into finally starting to get some real rhythm and some success in her rehab. So because we finally have the TBI track really well built, now I want to add a track specific to stroke. And there's so many different kinds of stroke, right? Yeah. So I'm really excited to announce that. So what I need people to get on it and then email me and say, hey, I'm into this. I want to have a stroke platform and these are my conditions, right? And then we'll do formal focus groups and we'll build out templates and people can say yay or nay, add this, whatever. So it's very exciting. So this couldn't have been more timely.
Oh, that's nice. Well, actually, to my estimation, there's 3 major strokes that people have. One is ischemic, the other is hemorrhagic, and then there's one that is called moya moya. Moya moya is a Japanese word meaning puff of smoke, and the reason they named it that was the veins in the head are not formed properly, and they're just tiny little things. And when you see a picture of the brain that has moya moya, it looks like a puff of smoke, and that's why it got its name.
So we have an I think it's called eagle's nest, a very rare stroke condition. So one of our biggest and early adopters, she's got that condition. And then CCM1, which is that rare stroke genetic condition as well. So yeah, since I started exploring this more, and even when you have the stroke as an affect of the TBI, it's even got a different, right, kind of presentation as well too. So yeah, there's a lot. And it's interesting because I was in a network event with a clinician who has tried many times to work in the stroke community. And he just said, there's just not a lot of support. And I was like, well, there's going to be a lot of support. You just mark my words. So you're not doing it the right way. Obviously, you come with us. So, but anyway, so that's like really, really exciting. And I will contact her to find out.
And
so
it just dawned on me, I gave you the wrong name. Her name is Tara.
Okay.
Tara McKinney.
Let me tell you some of the other things that's kind of exciting. So a couple of companies are now starting to work with us, and we're trying to figure out how do we have a synergy between us. So that one is a brain assessment company, and it's an FDA approved product, which is the only one. And so we're trying to work in terms of having our platforms interface, and that's going to be really exciting. So another company who's doing some nutraceutical research and mushroom research. I have some meetings with them for their preclinical applications. So, because again, my goal is to accelerate clinical trial research, because that's the only way we're going to get therapies for our community, people in the brain injury space. And so this is really important because this is the tip of the iceberg. And the gentleman who's actually the CEO of that company, he's a former NHL hockey player, and he has won the Stanley Cup a couple of times. So, I mean, there are some big names getting into this space. So it's exciting. Like I said last time, it's emerging and it's starting to really show. And the NFL Alumni Association has also endorsed our app. Yeah, so we are starting to get press. We're starting to get traction. And again, if we can get the different kind of stroke people on the dashboard and we can identify people by the patterns, that is what's going to accelerate clinical trials. And I guess because we didn't really kind of talk about my background, and if people didn't listen to the other podcast, I should probably tell them I've done clinical trial research my whole life. I'm not just like making this up, people. Just so your audience knows, I am a biostatistician and an epidemiologist, and COVID has made that, a common household word or set of words, which is great for me because people don't think I'm a skin doctor now. And I have designed clinical trials, managed them for over 20 years, 25 to be exact. It's a huge project to manage and run a clinical trial and have it successfully deliver the results, right? A lot of clinical trials fail, and it's because they just push patients into the study without doing a real deep dive into the makeup of the people. So you match the wrong people to the wrong trials, and then you have to keep replacing them. The trial takes now what was 2 to 3 years. We're at 6 to 7. Oh, we don't wrap it up until 10 to 12. Who can wait that long? Nobody. That's the bottom line. So that's why we're moving forward with that. And I just won a little grant. I'm a part of a big initiative in Massachusetts, which is where the company is located. And it's called Next Gen. And it's for women entrepreneurs that are showing very high promise in the health tech space. So things are really happening, Joanne, and we're going to make it happen for all brain injuries.
I love that. That's just really good news for all of us. And I'm hoping that any of the people who watch this program will make sure that they get in touch with you. And what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah, the best way is to answer your question. So if you see Power of Patience, right? If you go to my website, right? Go to the website, powerpatients.com, and they can sign up for a newsletter, or honestly, email me directly, because what I can do is send them a video. If they email me at lynne@powerofpatients.com, so it's LYNNE at powerofpatients.com, this whole thing. I will personally walk them through registering, bring them into the webinars. We do free monthly webinars, and we introduce all different kinds of topics. Last webinar was nutrigenomics, and nutrigenomics is really, really cool. I actually did it when I managed the Weight Watchers type 2 diabetes research. So I don't know if anybody knows, that's why Oprah bought Weight Watchers, just so you know, just kind of. So, that research, one of our components was working on the genes and the DNA. And at the very, very end of our genes is this little piece called telomeres. And nutrigenomics targets that end of your gene, because as we get old, it just naturally dies back. I mean, that's what it does. But when you're sick or you have chronic inflammation, what it's going to do is it's going to die back faster. And so nutrigenomics kind of addresses that telomere or telomere. So it depends upon your accent, and it supports it so it doesn't decay rapidly. So it's similar to a supplement or a vitamin, right? Nutraceutical, but it isn't to support the body or the organs. It actually is targeted specifically to genes. It's really interesting, really. The company that I had worked with was in San Diego. I can't remember the name of them, but they had more PhDs than they had normal people at this company. Like, the people who do this are so ridiculously smart. It's like, oh my God. So yeah, but we do nutrigenomics. I have a company that's a stroke company, as a matter of fact, a stroke manufacturer for devices for hands and feet. And they want to do a live demonstration, and it's using artificial intelligence. It's at-home therapy to help people who have suffered strokes to regain mobility in their hands and feet. These are the things that I bring to the audience. It's like, it might work. Right now, tracking on the dashboard is going to help you remove the emotion and look at the data and say, well, does it work or not work? Is it helping me? But these are things that if you don't know about them, how do you even know to ask about, right?
Exactly. Is there some way that we can help you to get the information about these companies out there?
I think, again, like, is there, a way that maybe if you broadcast this, to your audience and just ask them to email me directly. And I will then give them the link for the webinars and they can sign up and they can look at the website. We're bringing up a new website as well, because now we're ready to introduce the provider app and as well as the research app as well. So initially we're always focused on patients first. Patients bring their data to their doctors. Doctors bring this to the pharma companies. And so we're ready to kind of start rolling all the way out now in TBI. And now we're going into stroke next. And then we'll probably do Parkinson's after stroke.
Yeah. With the webinars that you do you ever, I'm trying to think of how to word this, would it be a good thing, like the one with the hands and the feet? I know I hear from so many people that really suffer without having the use of their hands or their feet, or if they have drop foot or something.
Natalie has that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just wondering, with a webinar like that, if there's something that's very special, would you be interested in maybe putting that on our page so people could see it and really understand? And if they're looking for more information, they can get in touch with you and sign up and be a part of what you're working on.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe what we could do is we could even, yes, is the answer. Now, I don't have the date with them yet, but another thing, do you ever do this where it's live and people send in chat questions or anything like that?
I just learned how to turn on Zoom.
Well, you know what would be fun?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could do with your audience. Remember, I said I need to get people with stroke onto the dashboard so that they can tell me what do they need. But what I normally do is I actually do live webinars with different brain injury association groups, and they give me immediate feedback. Like I show them, or they sign up and they go, oh no, this doesn't work and this is why. Do you know what I just found out? Like I'm like sitting here going, oh my God, how did I miss that? I'm working with a vision therapy doctor, and the vision therapy, the vision therapy doctor, I was showing him the charts and he's like, this is amazing. This is amazing. And so I said, I want to create a chart that a doctor now even can take to the next level. And so I was pointing out a specific symptom that was being tracked, and it was my data that I track with my daughter, right? So again, I protect everything, but he didn't know who it was. But I was explaining what her symptoms about dropping things, like she can't always hold on and she drops things randomly. I said, so look at the green chart right here. And he goes, I'm colorblind.
Oh, yeah.
How did I miss this? How did I not have a monochromatic chart for people with vision disabilities? Like, because my own daughter she's colorblind from the head injury. She became colorblind in her left eye. And so I'm like, see, I don't know everything. So guess what I'm doing? We're making new charts, right? So you can choose, do I want color charts or do I want monochromatic charts? But that's how I can customize, right? So I need people to talk to me. So I would love to maybe do a live webinar with your audience. We can do it on Zoom.
Okay. I can do Zoom.
Yeah, but what we'll have to do is have them schedule to attend the webinar.
Okay.
So that we can talk to them. Like we want to talk to the people live.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of some other people from some other groups that are very interested in this, and I'd be happy to get the information and invitation out to them as well, so we can really make this good for you.
Yeah.
So,
have you ever done anything with neuromusic therapy as well?
Funny you should say that. I've heard about it. I've seen some people use it, and they love it. When I had my stroke 25 years ago, I don't sing. I just that's something I like my friends. I want to keep my friends, and so I don't sing. But I do play handbells, and I love music. My husband had a beautiful tenor voice and sang since he was about 8 years old. It just made his heart beat. And so I've always been around it. And when I was coming back from my stroke, I was very involved with the handbells. And there you have have to count, and you have to, you have to be able to measure time and do all of these things. So I think without even having a name to figure out what I was doing, I think that was the part of the therapy that I was getting that was just happening because that was my interest. People love it.
Yeah, we did a webinar with some neuromusic therapists, and oh my God, it was great. Like I would like, if you want, I'm happy to bring them onto your show, refer you two together. Because they were amazing. It was just, and I can't sing either, but I was singing. It's on our dashboard.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I was right in there with everybody else. I can't carry a tune, but, and it was interesting because the PhD researcher from Harvard, at the end of his presentation, he said, I don't know what neuromusic therapy is doing, but the data is compelling. And so that's just the start. That's all you need, right? And now you start to evolve the ideas and you start moving forward in that research. So we are trying to figure out how we could do a clinical trial research with them. It's going to be exciting when we do it.
Just the word neuroplasticity, it just opened doors for me a couple of years ago when I had first heard it. And all I thought was sometimes things hit you right in the heart. And you know that everything about it is true. We're going to wrap this up, but you're going to see a lot more of Lynne. She's got some absolutely amazing ideas, a lot of ideas for you. Just stay tuned. You'll be very happy about this. And I want to thank you, Lynne, for being here. The information that you've shared, the fact that all of us have an opportunity to sign up for this and help all stroke survivors are part of the stroke community now, and unfortunately those that will be joining us. But because we step forward and do this, we may be able to help others in the long run. That I think is phenomenal. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor. My hat goes off to you, Joanne, and to all the people with brain injuries, right? Because, there's a point that I think sometimes we like being called survivors, but now I think it's a thriver. Like it is possible. It really, really is. And finding that right mix. And when do you back off? When do you switch up to another kind of modality? When you're able to identify the things that are problematic, you then have that knowledge. You can't do what you don't learn, and your knowledge is your power. And collectively, one of the things that I want to do next time I come on is talk about public health initiatives and how people change the course of the FDA. And that's what we can do.
That's a big topic. I think you just coined a new phrase, and I would love to hear it just spread like wildfire. And we've left one word out. We're stroke survivor thrivers. As long as we continue to work, even if it's just a tiny thing that we've added to our arsenal of things that help us, something creative that pushes us forward and makes us do things that we love to do before, or discover something that we never knew we could do, that makes us a stroke survivor thriver.
Yep. And it's possible. It really is. And if we can adjust our mindsets and shift our own thinking, right? And we all do it. We all have our own monkey chatter. I'm included, right? If we can, and this is why the data is so important and compelling, because you'll see the changes, and that's the empowerment. It will help you stop dwelling on what was and keep moving to the future. Thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you very much. And for anybody who's been here and watched, we're so happy you joined us. Make sure that you sign up for our podcast. It really helps us to get the word out to other people when you do that. And we'll see you next week.
You got it. Bye.
Just remember, everybody, don't count us out. God bless. Have a great day. Bye-bye.